Brendan Telfer is, about 50 minutes away, people. Tom Walsh. Tom, when do you arrive in Paris, mate?
I'm still about a week away from arriving in Paris. 10 days actually. So my comp's in 10 days. I'm about a week from arriving in Paris though. So, just finishing up prep in the south of France.
Is that deliberate? Because we spoke with Hamish Kerr earlier and he just said, look, it's just better given when we're competing to arrive without the distractions and everything else.
Oh, absolutely. I think, village life is pretty cool, but it can also wear pretty thin and can get pretty repetitive pretty easily. So the fact that, Hamish is in the last few days of the games, that's why he's in so late. But I'm, first up in terms of athletics. So that's why I'm going in a little bit earlier. But you just got to find out what works for you, and having some separation from it too is nice emotionally as well.
When you build up for something like this, you don't, and this is what people have got to, we've all got to get our heads around. You don't build up for a month, you don't build up for 6 months, you don't build up for a year. This is 4 years worth of your life goes into this next couple of weeks.
Oh, it is. In some cases, it's even more than that, right? It's pretty daunting when you think of it that way. But I guess all we can do is, try and get there in the best shape and in the shape that you want to be in to compete well and challenge for whatever you want to challenge for. So, it is a bit daunting when you think of it that way, though, Marty.
I mean, what I mean by that is that, everything that you've done up until now this year, I mean, it's not that it doesn't count, but this thing counts for so much more. It counts for everything.
It does, right? And to some degree, it doesn't matter how you've been going, if it's been good or bad or indifferent, right? It just means, everyone who gets there on the day has a chance to win, and that's where I'm feeling really good about things. I haven't had the year, especially the outdoor season, that I'd have wanted, but I also know that I've got a few, miles under the tyres. I know what the Olympics are. I've been there twice before. I've done pretty well twice before.
Oh, you have, yes.
And I know that I've just got to believe and trust the training that we've been doing, and know that I've got a bit more in the tank than what everyone else thinks.
Tom, and look, I can draw a parallel with other sports, and the daunting thing for the All Blacks going to South Africa, and anyone that says, it's just another, a field of grass, it's just another stadium, it's just another crowd. It's not. Once you're inside that Olympic stadium, when you see that flame, it changes everything. How advantageous for you that you have gone through this twice before?
Oh, I think it's pretty important, mate. I think there's been also two very different games, Rio and Tokyo, for many different reasons. But I definitely, sometimes I need reminding Sometimes I need reminding about my experience and I guess things I've learnt, and that's why I've got a good team behind me. But I think it's, I'd much rather go into the games with being at one before. You've seen the dining hall before, you've seen, the 10,000 athletes, you've seen the accommodation. It's not overstimulating. I think for first timers it can be quite overstimulating mentally, just seeing all the athletes and seeing all the stuff that goes with it. So it's definitely a good thing on my end.
100%. And while you're saying that, I was just thinking about my first experience. And I mean, obviously, I'm a media tosser, but just walking around that, the village and just, Sydney and all of the venues and stuff like that. I was like a kid, mate. My eyes were agape the whole time. And then you'd see an athlete. Like I remember watching Torpedo. Yeah, I just watching him, and he was 17 walking past me, and I just stopped and I just stared at him for like minutes and things like that. And it just, as a human, it's natural for us to behave like that, isn't it? And I'm pretty sure that if you were at the first Olympics, there in Rio and Usain walked past, you probably would have stopped doing what you're doing as well.
Oh, absolutely. But let's be honest, Usain wasn't staying in the village. But
same as the US basketball team, mate. They arrive in their own limos. I've seen them.
Yeah. No, look, it is pretty cool, and some of the, we like to try and pick what sports some people do because, for example, in athletics, right, there's so many different body shapes that do athletics, and then to some degree in other sports it is like that too. So, look, it is quite an interesting, place to be. You've essentially got, all the athletic freaks in the world, not all of them, but not a lot of them, in one place and trying to do their thing. So it can be very eye-opening.
Tom Walsh is with us. He is a two-time Olympic medalist in both Rio and Tokyo. Do you think about or ever ask yourself the question, is everyone clean? And does that cloud your mind at all?
Mate, I know we've talked about this a lot, but I think at the end of the day, I can only do what I do, right? I've been through parts of my career where I've been caught up on other people and what they're doing and how their training's going or how far they're throwing and so forth. But at the end of the day, I can only affect what I can do personally. So I've got to, when I throw my best, when I'm in the best shape, I am consumed by myself and what it is that makes that ball go far for me. Look, for sure, there is still drug use in our sport. There's no doubt about that. I think, the AIU do a fantastic job of getting a grip of that and keeping people accountable and so forth like that. But there will always be those people who try and cheat the system, but I can't worry about those people because I can't stop them from taking drugs.
When you get ready to go and, it's your day, it's game day, and you're going in that circle and everything else, has your preparation changed demonstrably since the first time you went to the Olympics, or is it pretty much the same? And just walk us just through briefly how you do that, how you personally get into your zone.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. Definitely there's I'm a little bit older now, Marty, I'm not sure if you're aware, but there's definitely not as much training that goes on as what used to be.
Yeah.
I think one thing I understand more now, more than anything, is my mental space is the most important thing for me. And it can just be by little things about how you're talking to yourself, your own self-talk and how you're framing things. Because you can put a slight different twist on things and it can, bring your mood completely down or change it to a much more positive kind of vibe. So, there's definitely a lot more awareness from me in terms of self-talk and the words that I'm using for things, because it's just so important with the energy you put out in the world. It is just so important to get right.